wife started the marriage, which was not what I wanted. Even though she asked me to, I played it straight and got a divorce. I had no idea I'd be sitting here writing this. Allie, the 36th woman, and I, the 35th man, are married but don't have any kids. After 6 years of marriage, I thought we had a strong bond. I made a mistake. Unfortunately, my marriage has been falling apart for who knows how long, and I'm not sure if any of those 6 years were real. Last month, I visited my grandfather at his farm. His health was getting worse quickly, so his family decided to throw him a party for his 89th birthday. There was also Allie at the party, but she had to go back to work the next morning. I made up my mind to spend a week at his house. I did my job from home. We talked every night on video call while I was there for 5 or 6 days. I guess on the 3rd and 4th nights, we just talked about anything on video chat. "Have you ever thought about opening our marriage?" she asked in a casual way, dropping a shock that changed the way I saw our marriage. It got cold. My stomach felt sick. What she had just said was still fresh in my mind. I did some things on the phone. I looked at the screen right away in case I had misheard. I asked, "What did she say?" she said in a low voice, rolling her eyes. "Don't overreact. Why don't we open up our marriage?" I asked. I personally think it's fun to watch other people, to make it taste better. Because she spoke in such a casual way, it seemed like she was suggesting a new restaurant or vacation spot. I didn't say anything or move for a minute while I tried to process what she had said. A lot of thoughts were going through my head at once. This is not how we were. We weren't the kind of pair that needed to have extra sex to keep things interesting. It was beyond me why she would even think about this, let alone bring it up in a casual conversation. "No, I haven't thought about it and I don't want to," I told her straight out. With a shrug, she tried to hide it. "I just thought it might be something fun and different. It's been said that other couples have done it and felt better afterward." Someone went on and on about how some celebrities do this and how some couples are really happy with open marriages. My heart was beating fast in my chest. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "How are you, Allie?" I asked her when she was done. "How did you get the idea that we should get married?" She said that. Reading about these polygamous or polyamorous couples made her fall in love with their wonderful ways of life. I paid close attention to what she said and tried to figure out the danger sign. When she was done, I told her, "No, absolutely not. I don't want to share you with anyone else." I didn't agree to that kind of marriage. Even though she said yes, I could tell she was sad in her eyes. She suddenly changed the subject, but I knew that wasn't the end of it. Even though I had planned to stay at the farm for a few more days, this talk stopped me. I was scared. I went back home the very next day. She was at work at the time. If your partner suggests an open marriage, it's more likely that they have cheated on you or are about to. I've been on Reddit long enough to know this. I quickly searched her clothes and makeup bag, but I couldn't find any proof that she had lied. It didn't surprise her to see me when she came back in the evening. She said she knew I would be in a hurry to get home after calling her the night before. She lost her temper with me, accused me of cheating, and then became passive-aggressive. It was clear that I didn't think she was up to no good, but I was worried about her sudden interest in Polly. She looked at my case with a very skewed sense of reasoning. She also said, "See, that's why people pick Polly. You don't have to stress out about whether or not your partner is cheating on you all the time. You know how much your partner loves and cares for you. Isn't that all that matters?" I wrote, "That's not all. I can't share my comfort with my spouse just because they don't do it for me. We need to look out for each other's safety." I asked her straight out if she was cheating on me after a very angry fight. She gave her phone to be checked right away. I'm not as gullible as she thinks I am. If she knew I would be home and gave me her phone to check, she must have cleaned up everything in case something was left behind. It wasn't necessary to check it. I told her, "I don't want to see it," and I trust her. She started crying and told me she had never cheated on me. The idea she told me about was just a thought that passed quickly. It got so bad that I felt bad about having doubts about her. She told me she would never cheat on me. After we made out, I thought things were fine between us. Things went well for a few days after that. At some point, I just stopped talking as much and seemed less interested in things. She seemed unfocused because she often fell asleep during dinner, looked at her phone randomly, or stared into space while we were supposed to be meeting up. At first, she never stayed late at work, but over time she did it more and more. I questioned her about why she was so busy all of a sudden. She told me I was silly to even question it, and that her workload had doubled, so she walked away. When I asked her about it, she would give me her phone to check, but I never put up with it. I wanted to believe her, but I couldn't get rid of the feeling that something was wrong. A secret was being kept from her. That talk made me think about it all the time. Why would she say something like that? Then she asked for an open marriage, which made things even worse. I was given the chance to work on site in Germany for 3 weeks. Even though it was a great chance for me, I was nervous about leaving Ally with this thought. I began to doubt every word, every laugh, and every smile. The thought that kept worrying me kept going away, even though I told myself I was being paranoid. I had never had a reason to doubt Ally before. She was giving her phone to everyone all the time now. So, it might have been just a quick thought. I agreed to the on-site offer after giving it some thought. I was away for 3 weeks. I kept getting the feeling that she was going away, even though we talked a lot. I tried to convince myself that it was all in my head. What Ally said changed after a few days, though. She cut down on how often she texted and made them short and cold. When I sent her long updates about my day and how much I missed her, she would only answer with a single word. She didn't seem to care anymore. The last time I asked her if everything was okay, she said the same thing. "Don't worry, I'm just busy." I didn't change my mind. When I asked her more questions, she brought up open marriage again and said, "See, that's why. Open marriages work these days. There are no limits. Being with your partner makes you happy and safe all the time. There will be 3 weeks without you. I need something. You're also worried that I might be cheating on you. So, the best thing to do would be to end the marriage." This time it wasn't just an idea. She said it with a strong voice. It's clear that she wants it whether I like it or not. I was unable to speak. I said, "Let's talk about it when I get back." I chose to leave early and go home. I had to pay attention to what was going on. I didn't let Ally know that I was coming back. To surprise her and find out what she was doing, I made her think I was still hundreds of miles away. When I got home, everything looked fine. In fact, it's too normal. The house looked like it had been cleaned up just for me to get back. She looked at me with a shocked smile, but there was something off about her answer. As if she were on stage. I paid close attention to her. I don't want to brag, but I also checked her phone and couldn't find anything. I thought I could be too suspicious, which was a stupid thought. I thought it was strange that she didn't bring it up again. Yesterday, when she got home from work, she ran into the room and said, "Look, we have to do this." I didn't understand. "What are you going to do?" She continued, "I've been talking to some people, but she didn't look at him. This is something that a couple I know has done for a long time. It works for them. I think we can make it work." My body was getting hotter. Specific people? Who are they? When asked where she met the couple, she said she did so on an online site after some thought. Because they liked the idea, they all pushed her to look into open marriage. I yelled at her, "You're already talking to them without asking me. Do you see what a mess this is? I've been trying to get you to understand, but you're stuck on your old-fashioned idea of monogamy," she said, which shocked me. "I'm no longer waiting for you. I'm getting married, whether you like it or not." After giving what she said some thought, I grabbed her shoulder and asked her bluntly, "You already cheated on me, didn't you?" She looked at me and said, "Yes." She finally told the truth, and her cheeks turned red. She admitted that she was seeing someone else behind my back. She settled down, tripped, and turned away from him. "I haven't lied to you. That is not exactly, I mean. I hoped you'd change your mind and come with me, but only once. Just once." Did she want me to go with her? It seemed like the world was spinning around me. It looked like the floor had given way under me. Finally, the anger that had been building up inside me came out. Right now I was about to choke her, even though I don't get mad very often. "You thought I'd change my mind?" I answered, trying to keep myself in check. "You lied to me. It doesn't matter to me how many times it happened. The story is over now that you have broken my trust." There's no doubt that she said it more than once. Before I did something I would feel bad about later, I ran out of the house. I spent the night with my cousin. This morning I went home to get what I needed. I'm going to stay at a hotel for a few days before I decide what to do next. I'm almost ready to end my marriage, but I don't want to do it too quickly. If I see that witch's face, I might lose it. So I need to stay away from her. In order to spice up your marriage, she planned to bring in a third party. That's so sweet. I have to say that getting married is almost always a guaranteed way to end it badly. To put it simply, it makes the cheater think they can get away with it. But you have the right idea. Stay away from her. The first change. If you want to read more, I've made some progress in my case. As I already said, I stayed at a hotel for a few days to relax and figure out what I wanted to do next. It made me feel lost, angry, and confused. I still cared about her, but I couldn't get over the fact that she had cheated on me. I didn't get any calls or texts during this time. Ali only sent me one. The text message said, "I know you're mad right now, and that's okay. But if you think about it, you'll see that I tried to win your support. I wanted to tell you about this event. That's not lying. I love you, and this will only make our love stronger. Also, I know you will come along in the end because you love me so much. I assure you, it would be fun." I immediately met a divorce lawyer. Caused him the extra to get into the cube, but who cares? My life was falling apart. I even paid him extra to have my case expedited. After a week, I returned home and walked in to find her on the phone, openly flirting with some guy. She didn't even look guilty when I caught her. Instead, she smiled at me like nothing was wrong. She hung up the call and came to hug me. I just walked past her and sat on the couch. She hugged me from the side and said, "I knew you'd come along. It would be so much fun. You'll see, I'll help you find someone." I freed myself from her arms, looked dead in her eyes and said, "I filed for divorce." She froze and then she laughed out loud and said, "No, you didn't. You can't. You love me." An idea stuck in my head. Let's blindside her. I just smiled and said yes. I loved you and went to my room and dozed off. A Reddit post I read about a man said that when he tried to separate his wife for cheating on him, he wrecked the house. That was the last thing I wanted to go through. I was patiently waiting for the paper to arrive because I couldn't risk losing what was important to me. In the meantime, I tried hard not to talk to Ali. Her face made my blood boil so badly that I avoided looking her in the eyes. Besides that, I rented an apartment and was slowly moving my things there while Ali was gone. I mostly worked from home at the time. Besides that, my witch didn't see anything because she was too busy getting hit in her dream world. She thought I was just upset about it and would change my mind. After a week, I got the papers. I waited for Ali to leave for work so I could get my things together and leave. After I booked a packer service, everything was sent. All the things that were mine. The couch, the closet, and the furniture. I cleaned up the room and threw all of her clothes and other things she had on the ground. There is one more thing. I recorded every conversation I had when I got home. She didn't know about it, though. This was as much proof as I could get. Getting a divorce is a hard process. She was shocked to find that half of the things were gone when she got home that night. In addition, the look on her face when I gave her the papers was hilarious. It seemed like she hadn't thought that I would follow through. She was shocked. At first, she didn't believe it. All of it is made up, right? It was hers. So I take it that you're only doing this to stop me from proposing to you. I told her, "It's real." You jerk laughed and shoved the paper in her face. When she finally understood what was going on, she went crazy. She started crying as she held my face in her hands and told me she loved me and couldn't stand to be apart from me. She told me she did everything she could to make our marriage more interesting. It was her plea that I forget about the last few months. She told me she would stop talking to other guys if I wanted her to be single again. She clung to me desperately as she tried to convince me to stay. She cried and said the same things over and over. "I'll do anything. I'll be seen only by myself. I promise you won't leave me." I laughed. The sound is loud and empty. "You're telling me this now, because you know I'm serious, but it's too late. You need to lie down in the bed you made." She was still crying as she sat in the hallway while I gathered my last few things and left. But I drove off and didn't look back. When she tried to get in touch, I quickly blocked her from everywhere. It was her best friend who tried to get in touch with me on Instagram. I told her I didn't want to talk to anyone. It's been 3 days now. I've been trying to keep myself busy while living alone. The shock and numbness are gone. I only feel lonely, sad, and angry right now. Working from home, taking short walks, and going to the gym twice a day have helped me stop having bad feelings. What she said keeps going through my mind. I'm worn out by it. Isn't everything staged? I'm sorry to burst your bubble, ally. This one is the real deal. Second news. This is a report. She called my lawyer and asked him to set up a time to meet with me before she would agree to the split. So that their process would go more easily, my lawyer told me that we should get together to make things right. Yes, he did tell me a few things to keep me safe at the meeting. I emailed her and told her that we would meet in public and that I would record the time. I had to stand up for myself against any trick she might try. She begged us to meet at her house so that we could talk more freely. I shot it down. I picked a cafe that wasn't as busy and a table in the corner instead. When I got there, she was already there. I said no to her hug when she got up to give it. I sat down at the other end of the table from her. It looked like she was awful. Tears on the face and eyes that looked big. It didn't matter to me that she looked broken. I turned on the tape and told her I was going to record what we were saying. As soon as the tears started to fall, she said she was sorry. I already feel awful about it. Please stop making me look bad. I now see where I went wrong. I was so naive and interested in myself. I thought it would make our relationship stronger. I laughed. Better. You thought that cheating on me and lying to me would bring us closer. I told her to stop protecting herself with my hand. I told her to tell me the truth. I was interested in everything. What did she do, and how long did it last? She stuttered and cried a lot. Before she finally told him everything, it was something that one of her friends did with her husband. She was making out with a young intern at the work party while her husband was there. Ali learned that truth after she became confused and then talked to her friend about it. Her friend told her to talk to me and get my permission before doing any of these things, but Ali thought that I would agree because I loved her so much. From then on, Ali kept working with the same student who had been talking to her coworkers. That is where she stopped it. I had a feeling that wasn't just a one-time thing. How many times and how many guys? I asked her something. I want every little thing. Stop the tape, she told him. No, she needs to talk to the recorder, I told her. It made her cry before she went into depth. She decided to give it a try after my trip to the farm. Since I didn't agree, she chose to let it go. But then I went to the place. She gave in to the temptation. She had been with several guys. I asked for answers. At times, it was just 3 guys working alone. 7 meetings in all, including one with 2 of them. It felt like someone hit you in the stomach. After all of these findings, she had the nerve to talk, but it didn't mean anything. She begged for one more chance and promised to change things and go back to how things were before. I tried to do it, but I couldn't. It's not easy to rebuild trust after it's been broken. She took everything we had made together and destroyed it. It was so sad that I thought she might pass out at some point. I couldn't keep my fears in check. For the first time, tears started to come to my eyes. She took my hand and said, "Let's start over, I promise you won't be sorry." I'd make a good wife. Because we love each other, we can get through this hard time together. Please, let's get back together. I looked at her and said, "Every time I see you, I remember the betrayal. How can I get you back now that you cheated on me behind my back?" I made it clear that peace is not a possibility. It would be better for her to accept it sooner rather than later. I got up to leave. While holding my hand, she begged for one last hug. I stood there like a rock while she held me and cried. Having freed myself, I left. Even though I could hear her crying, I didn't turn around to see what was wrong. It didn't bother me if other people saw her cry. After a few days, her dad called me and asked to meet. Over the years, they have loved and cared for me, even when I might have turned them down. I thought I should get together with them once. I went to see them. Both of them said they were sorry for what happened. Annie's dad only told her that he was afraid about her health. This night she cried a lot and shut herself off. She hasn't been eating well and has been sick sometimes, so she hasn't been at work. Her mother tried to get them to get back together, but she didn't push it. "It's over between us," I said with all due respect. As he left, her father gave me a hug and told me he understood how hard things were for me. I have to say it was nice. It's been months since then. During the divorce process, I went to court with Allie and her parents. She's lost a lot of weight and can't be recognized. Mom and Dad are taking her to therapy. I've mentally moved on, even though the split is still not final. Putting together my life without her has started. It's better than being in a cheating marriage, even if it hasn't been easy. Allie still tries to get in touch with me by sending me long emails about how she treats me badly. I don't answer though. I'm not able to. Someone else I don't know has taken the place of the friend I fell in love with. Though some marks never fully heal, I'm glad I'm free now. That being said, let's call these emails spam.